Hi, this is Mr. Aguilar, and today we're going to talk about creating rough drafts for our first project, which is going to be that spooky illustration. So I don't want to take up too much time, so I'm only going to do one draft because I find if I try to do 4 or 5 drafts, the video gets too long. Basically, your rough drafts are really quick ideas or really quick sketches that you want to put down on paper as quickly as possible. This is the third step in the creative process. So the first step being the assignment, which is the project. The second step being brainstorming. That's where you write down your ideas. And then the third step is doing your rough drafts, which is visualizing your ideas. So normally when I do this, I make my brainstorm list. I add to it. I can subtract from the list depending on what I like or don't like. But what I really want to show you guys is just how to do and construct a rough draft. And so I have an idea in my head. It's in my brainstorm. I'm going to show you some other rough drafts with notes that I did, just so it doesn't take up too much time. So I'm thinking vertical alignment. Now, normally I don't like putting boxes to constrain my illustrations for my rough draft. So this would be vertical, and then you'd have one that could be horizontal. So when I say boxes that constrain, I'm talking about a vertical alignment versus a horizontal alignment. So I have an idea of what I want to do, and basically I'm going to have a figure. I don't know how that figure is going to look. I don't know if it's going to be like kind of like in a cloak or a mask, but I'm going to say here, this will be my figure, and it's going to be looking up, and this is where the face is going to go. And I'm going to have the figure in some kind of a cowl. And what I want is, I want that figure to kind of have its arms coming here and here. And I might find that this might work better as horizontal, might work better as vertical. So I'm going to have to make an adjustment. This is getting a little bit too big. So I'm just going to put my placement in for like where my hands are going to go. Again, you don't have to know what you're drawing or how to draw it. Right now you're just trying to get your idea in. And basically you're just laying it out. And I have no idea what the figure is going to be wearing. Right now it's going to be kind of like a cloak, so maybe I could have like some kind of cloak on here. And I want to make this super fast. And I'm looking at and this is why I'm thinking like this might be better as a horizontal. And this is really big. I did not mean to go this big. And in the background, what I was thinking is kind of having kind of like a smokiness, blurry picture. So all these little things are going to be like for kind of like just have it smudged and smoky. This figure would be draped to say something dark, black. This is going to be a graphite pencil, black and white. I'm not going to have any color in here. and I just kind of want to figure out, okay, what are my shapes going to be? What is this going to look like? And just kind of lay this out. Now, if I like this idea, but I don't, let's say, like the clothing or the outfit, what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll work that out later on. What I don't want to do is I don't want to spend a ton of time right now trying to work something out that I'm not going to use. Okay, so when you guys are doing this, so this is going to be the hand. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see that that's a hand. And again, you don't need to know how to draw anything right now. So these are going to be like tentacles, kind of like almost like a octopus tentacle, and they're going to come out. And I'll show you where I got kind of my idea for this. I got it from like another sketch that I did for something else, and then as I was looking at it, I was like, oh wow, that would make for a pretty good idea. So what I would do is I put my notes in here. So this would be like octopus tentacles. This would be kind of like a smoky or foggy backdrop. Okay, and this would be like just, a figure. And, I might add some other ones. So that's all these are going to be like octopus tentacles. So that's going to be for all of these. And this would just be my idea, and then kind of like I might want a creepy face, maybe change clothing, meaning not having like a cloak or something like that. And that would be my rough draft. That would be everything I need. And this one's really, really big. I don't usually draw this big for my rough drafts, but I wanted to show you guys. So again, just kind of like creating that smoky texture. Here are some other ones I did, and they're very, very generic. When I was trying to create the video and come up with ideas to show you, I wanted to get it done in time. So I just went very generic. This is like a mismatch of 2 or 3 different things, and you'll see some illustrations that kind of look like this in the pictures that I show you guys. Here I have the Grim Reaper drinking blood out of a wine glass. I have a raven on a skull, books, paper, and again, Edgar Allan Poe. That's kind of where this is coming from. So again, not very original ideas, even though I drew it out of my head. But your rough drafts are just there so you can get your ideas down. You don't have to know how to draw it. It doesn't have to look nice. This is simply for getting stuff down on paper. Now, when you do your rough drafts, and this is from another project, right? So here's a bunch of rough drafts. This is from a different project we did. Here's the sketch for that based off of this rough draft. Here are all the practices and warm-ups, and we'll get into that. And then again, when I was looking at some of my practice drawings, I saw this. I'm like, oh, that would make a really good idea for the spooky illustration. I also like the owl, so I'm thinking, maybe I can do something spooky with an owl. And then this was the final that I did for our inked illustration. I did this as a demo so I could pace myself with my class and not make sure I give everyone enough time to complete the project. So what you guys are responsible for doing, okay? You guys are responsible for creating 4 rough drafts. So that's 4 rough drafts, minimum. I expect to see notes throughout all of your rough drafts. I'd like to see your brainstorming. So if you can include your brainstorm in your submissions, this tells me, okay, what are you thinking? What are the directions you're going through? What is your process? What is it that you want to do in this background? And I'm going to explain about the smoky or smudgy backdrop because I'm going to show you some techniques on what to do. And basically, I just need you guys to come up with a couple different rough drafts with notes, something that we can talk about, something that I can look at and walk you through the process, because this is going to be our first project. Once we're done with the spooky illustration, we're going to be moving into Unit 3, which is going to be shapes and forms. And then after shapes and forms, we're going to be getting into color, and that should wrap up the year. Doesn't sound a lot, but it's a ton of information that we're going to be getting into in the future. So that's it for the video. 4 rough drafts. Remember, get your ideas down. It doesn't matter if they're a bad idea. Get them down on paper so new ideas can pop in your head. Make sure your ideas are all different. In the past, I've had students turn in the same idea 4 times. They don't get credit. So 4 different ideas minimum, 4 different rough drafts minimum. I would encourage you to do as many as it takes, though, to get the idea that you want. You're going to be looking at other people's work, but I want you to limit yourself. Be inspired, but limit yourself to what you're looking at, because then you're going to find yourself copying someone else's work, influenced too much by someone else's work, and basically you're just going to be plagiarizing. I realize it's hard to find new ideas for this topic because it is done in massive scale around the world. A lot of people do stuff for Halloween, All Saints Day or All Hallows Eve, Day of the Dead. There's a ton of stuff out there, right? Our focus again is spooky, creepy, scary, like kind of like a horror movie, anything within that realm. That's what's going to fit in for the project. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with, and we'll continue on to this process.